He, just like John Kerry, who is now being accused of leaking secrets that Israel had, one of our most important allies, to Iran, the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism, I believe is soft on Iran. We're going to get to the bottom of the Kerry issue, by the way. It's alleged what he did, but if he did it, if he sold out Israel for Iran, he needs to resign and be fired. We're going to get to the bottom of that. Mr. President, let me mention one other issue. It's a sensitive one, I admit it, but I think it's also an important one. With Dr. Call, at his confirmation hearing, he said one of his priorities is to, quote, stamp out, quote, systemic racism within the ranks of the military. Now look, I care about this issue if we have, and every organization has bad people in it. I spoke on the Senate floor last year about some of these issues. I put forward legislation last year in the NDAA that looks at why aren't we having promotions of African Americans at higher ranks, at the highest ranks of the military. It's an issue I care about. But when he said this in his confirmation hearing, systemic racism within the ranks, I was very curious. Have you served in the ranks, maybe? No, he hasn't. I have, 26 years, still serving. Where did he get the information? That's a broad statement to make about our troops that you want to lead. During the hearing, Dr. Call admitted he had, quote, no credible evidence to back up that kind of statement. Well, that's a real lack of judgment. You're besmirching a big portion of the force with no credible data to back it up, and you want to be the number 3 leader in the Pentagon. This is judgment, Mr. President. And this is one of the many reasons I'm going to vote against him, and I hope that my colleagues do. Let me end with one final thing. Dr. Call made a statement in his confirmation here about the requirements of the job. Quote, the position of Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, while it's a political appointment, is not a political job. It is a policy job, one that requires whoever is in the position to be nonpartisan. Well, Mr. President, given his judgment, given his temperament, I don't believe Dr. Call's lived up to his own assessment of what is required to serve in the Pentagon's 3rd most important defense role. I don't believe he has the qualifications for this position. There are plenty of good policy experts, Democrats, I'm sure, who do. And I would encourage my colleagues to vote against this nomination for these reasons. I yield the floor.